Well, it's finally here. I am 1 week away from starting my tenure stream job at Cornell University in the Department of Performing and Media Arts. It has been quite a journey to get here. Now, right now, it's June 27th, 2022. And in this episode of Office Hours with Juan Manuel, I'm going to be talking about the emotions that I'm feeling as I transition from my postdoc position that I held at Cornell University in the Society for the Humanities for the past 2 years, as I transition into the tenure stream. Now, if you're new to Office Hours with Juan Manuel, this is a channel dedicated to talking about how to survive and thrive in academia. For the past several months, I've been giving strategies on how to succeed in the graduate life and also have produced some episodes on postdoc life. But today, we're going to talk about tenure stream, and more specifically, how one might feel as you transition into your tenure stream job. So welcome to Office Hours with Juan Manuel. This is Office Hours with Juan Manuel, creating an academia without walls so you can thrive on your journey. Hey everyone, welcome to Office Hours with Juan Manuel. Today we're going to be talking about the 1 week before tenure stream job starts. So July 1st will be my transition to my tenure stream job at Cornell University. I've been here at this institution for the past 2 years on a Mellon postdoc, which I'm really proud of to say that I was able to finish it and complete with to much success. I got a couple of publications out. I was able to make some connections on campus that were really fruitful and generative. So I feel really good about the time that I've already spent here. Mind you, I did this postdoc during a global pandemic, which was stressful, isolating, and very downright just depressing sometimes as trying to figure out what were the next steps in my career. So when I transitioned here on a postdoc, I didn't yet have the tenure stream secure. I had been on the job market literally the winter slash months when the pandemic was starting, and I had I had 5 on-campus interviews, most of which shuttered at the end as jobs were being, as offers were being considered because the pandemic shut everything down. But fortunately, I had the postdoc already in hand, and I was able to use this opportunity to come to Ithaca, get to learn it, and to focus on my book project. And as a consequence of that, halfway through the postdoc period, almost a year ago, I was able to secure a tenure stream offer here at this university. So I'm really proud of that. But now, fast forward 2 years later, and I am here 1 week away from starting my tenure stream. Now, I can't say enough just how excited I am about this opportunity. Yes, there's all of the stress that comes with the transition to tenure stream, but I'm really excited about what it also means as a person of color at this institution, and to also sort of affirm my position as a person of color, as a professor of color, first generation, formerly undocumented scholar, and what it means to hold that title for me and also for the students around me. So I'm really excited about that. And I've been able to transition and affirm those aspects rather than only focusing on the daunting demands. As I knew it was going to get difficult the more that I progressed in this career. The wonderful colleague, former dissertation advisor Juana Maria Rodriguez at UC Berkeley, told me early on in my academic graduate career that it only gets worse, right? I went to her office hours. This is the first time after starting my graduate program at Berkeley, and I went to office hours with her, and I said, hey, look, I'm interested in continuing this career. What do I need to do? And in past, she said, it only gets worse. So from day one, I've known that the workload would become, would pile higher. But also early on, it meant that I was able to have this perspective that I wanted to find strategies that would help me enjoy what is also a very rewarding career, we're able to manage it well. So in this episode, what I really want to focus on a little bit is what I did to get to this point of 1 week before, and what I was hoping to accomplish before my transition. And specifically, I just want to talk about one thing, which is the pre-tenure stream timeline. The timeline is this document that I want to hold that has, my tenure markers, my writing goals, my book goals, my publishing writing goals, and really to keep track of all the different aspects that make up life, on campus and teaching as a profession at a university. And what I try to do is to create this document to help me kind of get my bearings straight, to identify areas or semesters that are going to be overwhelming, and try to figure out how I can move some things around, because really the goal is for me in this position is to get my book out. So that's the primary goal. And I want to be able to craft classes around that, complementary engagement activities around that, and also try to figure out how my service goals fit into supporting those, that vision. And a part of that, I will also be doing service to conferences and associations, and building good and wonderful relationships with folks on campus. I'm going to show you briefly some of the elements of this document that hopefully will give you an idea how I'm thinking this will help me approach my sort of the next couple of years, and how I hope that this is a living document. So first, what I want to do is I want to draw your attention to the columns on the left-hand side. You'll see that, I have all the different years, the pre-tenure track year there on the upper left-hand side, and then the multiple years, 2021, 2022, and the subsequent years, that kind of go up into the following years and moving on. And then I also have the semesters, because, when you're in academia, you kind of work via semesters, and that's what I've done a column to identify kind of all the needs demand. And some also things that I've included is the tenure marker. So there's like the goals that are required, that you're required to meet, but there are deliverables associated with it, like a book, an article, service and committee. But on top of that, there are specific goals for managing that progress. And so what I incorporated is a column that really is something important, because that's what's going to drive this process, right? It's these markers along the way. So I did some pre-tenure track planning, which is this summer, and last summer and this summer. And then along the way, I've also done other areas, included things like the department performance review and start the tenure dossier. So these are goals that essentially are the container for what this next several years are going to look like. And I want to have those in the front, because that's what's going to dictate or drive a lot of the other elements, right? And for example, I have a writing goal. This is a little bit undefined yet, because everything's so granular already, so I don't know what this writing goal yet means, because I have more specific goals. And this might mean like a personal goal, or for writing, because I have the daily practice of writing 30 minutes a day. Some people call it, do 15 minutes, and they call it the Fierce 15. I like to do the 30 minutes, actually it's 25 minutes to be exact, using the Pomodoro method. And so that's kind of my ongoing goal, and that might shift over the years. So I'm hoping that I have a better, clear perspective on what that looks like in the next couple of months. But then, of course, I have the book goal. The book goal is the actual component, the actual big goals, right, for getting the manuscript together. And along that, that involves getting the book proposal ready, submitting the book proposal, and completing the manuscript, and then also a book launch party. It's important to celebrate as well. And so those are the elements that drive that column. And then within that, the column next to it is the chapter goals. So that involves, having the individual chapters that and when I'm hoping to complete them, so that I can have, everything together. And this, of course, is going to be one of the most dynamic parts of this tenure timeline spreadsheet. I know it's going to change, for example, just already, because I received some interest from a book publisher, so I already sent out 2 preliminary sample chapters to them, and they're reading them as I record this. So that will probably also change this. the chapter goal timeline. Then I have the publishing writing goals. In my department and in my field, in addition to the book, you're required to kind of publish, 1 or 2 articles a year, or to at least have them working before you go up for tenure. And so I have at least 3 right now that are kind of on the radar that I've been either published or am currently editing or in development right now, so that when I go up for my 3-year departmental performance review, I at least have 3, 1 for each year, right? And then I have also teaching goal, because we got to teach in this discipline. And so this includes the classes that I plan to teach each semester. And this is of course dependent, on having conversations with my colleagues and departmental needs. And this is kind of what I have outlined right now. This is of course going to change. And then I also have service goals. Service goals really outline, commitments to my department, to the campus, to my professional associations, or to the field. And so I really like this component of my spreadsheet, because it always reminds me of how I'm building, communications, and how I'm building sort of these relationships with other people and also my department. So this hasn't been fully fleshed out. I'm sure it's going to change as well. This is going to be the areas, along with the chapter goal, that's going to be changing the most. And largely because, once I start my tenure stream, I'll have a better idea of what service goals, what service is needed in my department. So I'll kind of add one of these for each semester. I already know possibly which committee I'm going to serve on my first year. I have a better idea just because I've been at this institution for the past 2 years and have sat on some in on some faculty meetings, and that gives me a little bit of idea. I've been listening and kind of what's needed. And then you also have conference goals. Conference goals kind of include the conference annual gatherings that I will be attending each year. And this is a little bit actually outdated, and I need to update it because I need to add an additional conference that I will be attending this year, now that the pandemic is somewhat waning. Asterisk. There are more activities again and things are resuming, so I will probably be adding to those. And this final column here is the dean meeting goal. I received some advice from a colleague / former professor during my graduate program, Gail DeKosnek. Shout out to Gail for this. She recommended that I would reach out to the dean and maybe set up a 15-20 minute just check-in once a semester, just to kind of see, tell them what I'm doing, what I've been working on, just so that you can be on their radar. And that semester check-in doesn't necessarily have to be like a one-on-one every time. It could just be that you arrange a time to meet with them, at an event, or you find out that they're talking and you show up and you go up to them and you say hi. So these strategic meetings really help you identify ways that you are on the dean's radar, but also help build this presence of you on campus, that you're getting things done, that you're working, because you are getting all this amazing work done. And part of our goal is to just affirm that work and be advocates for our own work, and that involves being strategic with certain meetings about how we show up for ourselves and how we show up for our work, and that other folks recognize that work, either directly with meetings with one-on-one, or just also working in collaborations. So this document, this tenure timeline document, is going to change a little bit, I'm sure, but this is what I've gathered so far, up to now with my up to now in terms of this specific timeline. Now underneath, as part of this document, I also have these other additional tabs that include the tenure dossier documents, documents I know I am going to need to include as part of my dossier folder, and things that I'm going to submit. So this includes the dean's recommendation, hence why it's important that you have the dean, that the dean knows who you are, departmental recommendation. This is going to be a letter that's drafted by your department, your CV, your candidate statement, appointment, performance letter reviews, external evals, teaching, and then recommended, these are recommended material. So this is a list of documents that I gathered from my departments and university's website of things that I'm going to need when I go up for tenure, 5 years from now. So I have the list of these documents, so that way I can start gathering them and I can start building them, and I'm going to create a separate folder where these will be gathered there. And then also, I have a list of external reviewers, because when you go up for tenure, in preparation for tenure, when you go up for tenure, you can name some people who are going to be your external reviewers who are going to write essential letters on your behalf of why you should get tenure. And you want to start building this document early on, so you start to also identify who would be a good person to talk about your work, who understands the importance of your work, and how can they speak about it in such a way that it would help relay that, to the department, to your department, and then also to the committee. So that is what that document with this tab involves. And then here is this the questions, because I'm sure there are going to be so many doubts and dead ends or things that are going to be not transparent. So this is a tab that involves all the questions that I have. For example, I have 4 questions right now. What documents do I generate? I have a clear idea now that I have the tenure dossier documents. How long are candidate statements? Who are the external reviewers in the larger discipline above our subfield? And how soon do we select an evaluator for assessing the teaching? So these are type of questions that I have on my mind right now as I prepare for it. But now that I've spent so much time in this tenure timeline document, like I said, I just want to zoom back out a little bit to talk about just the excitement that I'm feeling as I transition to tenure stream. Certainly I couldn't have gotten to this point without so much support from my partner, from my parents, my siblings, the community at large. Both here in Ithaca, but also more specifically in other states where I have lived and abroad. And that's just the part that I'm really excited about, everyone who's been on this journey with me, and that in some ways I just feel like it's just getting started. It took a lot to get here, overcome a lot of personal challenges and a lot of legal challenges as a formally undocumented scholar. But now that I'm at this, transitioning here, I feel like this moment marks a really exciting period in my life. I'm really excited to be on campus. Next year I will be on the at the Latino Living Centers of one of the faculty fellows for the Latino Living Center, where I just get to talk to Latinx students and organize social events. I'm really excited about that, and just kind of what this means, for me, and hopefully what it will mean for the students. To also talk about my work and the work that I'm doing, the way that I'm talking about performance and its relationship to immigration. I'm really excited about that. Well, okay, so this wraps up this episode of Office Hours with Juan Manuel. I covered a little bit about the tenure prep that I did for the past couple of years and preparing for tenure, and then some of the document that I generated. And I also described a little bit more about how I'm feeling, all the emotions of uncertainty, of excitement, all of the mixed emotions that come with starting tenure stream. So next time that I talk to you, I'm actually going to be already on a tenure stream, so we'll see how that feels. I'm excited about it, so stay tuned for Office Hours with Juan Manuel. This is Office Hours with Juan Manuel, creating an academia without walls so you can thrive on your journey.